Hello, I'm Paul Peterson. The comforting properties of chicken soup are loved the world over, but nowhere more so than in Los Angeles, where Project Chicken Soup has been providing nutritious meals and comfort for 20 years. Today, we'll be going behind the scenes with this beloved nonprofit to discover that it's far more than chicken soup alone, that this amazing group delivered to their clients. Please stay tuned for Aging in LA. Project Chicken Soup was started in 1989 by a group of 15 caring volunteers who wanted to provide people with HIV/AIDS with some comforting and nutritious food. This small group of volunteers of all ages has grown into a dedicated band of 80 who get together twice a month to prepare and deliver delicious kosher meals to more than 100 clients throughout the county. Joining us today are Associate Director Catherine Friedman and stalwart volunteer Molly Peer, who is a familiar face to viewers through her volunteerism with the Elder Wisdom Circle. Molly, Catherine, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you.
Project Chicken Soup. What a wonderful idea. Molly, how long have you been associated with the program?
From its very inception.
Or are you one of those founder people?
Yes.
I'll be darned. 15 years, twice a month.
Yes.
Who came up with this idea? It's what a great idea to bring chicken soup to people who are dealing with HIV and AIDS.
I think it originated with the Jewish Family Service of the Los Angeles Jewish Federation. And it evolved into cooking meals, nutritious and warm and comforting meals to our clients. It was badly needed then, just as it is now.
Yes. This is not going to go away anytime soon.
No, not for a while. Some people may think that HIV is gone. It's not.
No.
And the newer generation coming up, some of them have a tendency not to pay attention.
Well, young people think they're immortal,
Yes.
and they engage in risky sexual behaviors, and there's a certain way to find yourself at risk for HIV/AIDS.
Exactly.
Well, so I imagine that, Catherine, so nice to have you here today.
Thank you.
You came into the program about 5 years ago?
Yes.
And so you had moved from New York. What drew you to this program?
Well, I've been working with nonprofits for about 30 years.
Wow.
And when I investigated the area and to see what was happening, I saw Project Chicken Soup, and I said, that sounds interesting. I've worked in the HIV/AIDS community for a long time.
Right.
And so I interviewed for the position and was offered the job.
Well, and I'm so glad that you're there, and Molly, that I don't know how you find time for all of this stuff, because you actually do some of the cooking, huh?
Yes, well, the filling in of time can be devastating if you don't really fill it in.
Yes. Now, we've talked before, okay? You lost your husband some years ago.
Yes.
But you've stayed remarkably active.
That's what saved my life, being active, doing things for other people. In the long run, it's really doing things for myself.
That's right. That's
It's kept
right.
me healthy. It's kept me alive. It's kept me feeling good about myself. When you do things for others, your endorphins raise.
Sure.
Your sense of self-esteem is raised. And that in itself is worth doing all I do.
Well, I wish more people would do it, and they too could learn these rewards. Now, Catherine, how do people come into the program? Do they apply for these delivered meals?
Yes. The only eligibility requirement for the program is proof of living with HIV or AIDS. And people come to the program through word of mouth from their friends, their neighbors, other programs in Los Angeles that are aid services
Right.
organizations. And it's a very simple application process. And for 15 years, or maybe longer, there was no waiting list. So somebody could actually call, request an application, and they were actually receiving food within a couple of weeks.
Wow.
Which was wonderful. With the demand increased right now, we've had a waiting list for the last
Understand.
year.
Well, people forget sometimes that there are economic consequences to illness. And sometimes people who are doing very well suddenly get a diagnosis with HIV, and they lose their job or they're too ill to work, and they suddenly find themselves in a position where getting a square meal is important. So how many meals do you deliver over the course of a month about?
Well, we're serving 120 clients, and we do our cookings twice a month, and each time we cook 6 meals per client.
Wow.
So 15,000 meals per year is
That's-
what we prepare and deliver.
That's fantastic.
Right.
Now, that's got to be some kitchen if you're making that many meals. Molly, you're on your feet and putting stuff in the oven and making your specialties?
Yes, while I'm doing the cooking, while I'm standing on my feet, I don't feel anything except the immediate necessity. It's when I stop and sit down that my feet start hurting.
Well, you got to tell me if you nosh a little bit while you're cooking. But a couple of weeks ago, Aging in LA visited the volunteer cooks and delivery people as they assembled meals at the Hirsch Kosher Kitchen on Fairfax Avenue. Catherine and Molly, we're going to roll some tape here, and please act as our guides as we watch the process of preparing this comforting and nutritious food. Now, here's a surprise. Young people are involved in this volunteer effort as well, right, Catherine?
Yes, that's right. And Project Chicken Soup is a very, a very popular site for young people who do community service through their schools. And this particular day was also very special because it was Big Sunday. And Big Sunday is an LA-wide day of service.
I see.
So we had a group scheduled from Big Sunday to come and cook, and that's why you'll see the volunteers wearing Big Sunday t-shirts.
That's great. Oh, it's got to be fun in that kitchen.
It's great. It's great.
Kind of like watching Grandma cook times 10.
Right, right. So we have 4 teams, and okay, that's the noodles for the noodle kugel. Molly, that was your team.
Yeah, yes.
You had the Kugel team.
Yes, that particular day, kugel was one of a number of things that we cooked. And it's so gratifying when you send it home, and then when I call the clients, and I do call each of the clients a week before a cooking date, they have to be sure to be home
Right,
when the
of course.
food is delivered. We may not leave it at a doorstep.
But do you find yourself talking about more than just the delivery of food?
Yes, yes, I do. Sometimes I call a client who is not feeling particularly well that day. Maybe they're a little lonely, and they hear my voice, and sometimes they just open up and tell me how they're feeling, and I respond as well as I can.
Well, they couldn't have a better source of advice than...
Thank you.
You've put in some years here.
Yes, and then they
There
know
she
that
is, speaking of. Oh, goodness.
they know that they have something to look forward to the following week.
It's amazing to me that in the gay community, lesbian, gay, transgender, whatever, bi, how often people are isolated within that community, especially when they fall ill. And this is a tremendous idea, and it's needed, of course. Wow, this was like institutional cooking, Catherine.
Yes, it is, but our program is small enough that we're able to maintain the home cooking part of it, which is very special.
You know, our chicken soup isn't chicken soup unless there's love in it.
Right, that's right.
Well, that's the main ingredient.
Yes.
The main ingredient in our cooking is love, and the clients feel it. I get very, very warm feedback, and that's
Sure.
one of the greatest sources of satisfaction.
Now, you were telling me earlier, Molly, that there actually is quite a turnover within this group. People will get well enough to go back to work, or they'll move out of the area.
Yes.
So there's always new faces.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Oh, look at. Well, how many courses, Catherine, are you guys preparing there?
Each cooking, we prepare 3 entrees, 2 quarts of soup, one of which is always chicken soup. We have cold salads, steamed vegetables, desserts, fresh fruit.
So you're not just delivering a meal.
No.
You can actually give people some sustenance for a couple, 3 days.
That's right.
Wow.
It may last some people about a week.
Really?
Yes, it's about 6 meals.
That's fantastic.
And then oftentimes we have an additional supply, we call it a supply bag, but donations from community members or synagogues or churches, they donate non-perishable packaged goods and toiletries, so we can pack those up and send them along with the freshly prepared meals.
Yes, and that's a good idea. Now, for a person to contact you, they just look for Project Chicken Soup? Is that how they get a hold of the project?
Well, yes, they can call our number.
Yes, and we have a website. They can dial www.projectchickensoup.org.
Okay,
Right.
projectchickensoup.org. And you can see for yourself. I imagine there's always need of volunteers.
And occasionally we get special items. For example, right around Hanukkah and Christmas time, some group donated bathrobes.
Oh, excellent.
And each client got a new bathrobe. They were extremely pleased and grateful. And sometimes we get household cleaning products,
Right.
which saves a lot of money.
Yes, indeed. Well, I think, yes, go ahead, Kathy.
We also just were fortunate to be the beneficiary of the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank's Rapid Distribution Program, where they actually have a truck that comes to the kitchen the Friday before a cooking, and they have produce, fresh produce.
Great.
That we can choose from, and we're able to use some of that for the cooking and also give clients fresh produce along with their meals.
Very, very important, yeah. You don't want to have institutional food. Now, of course, I'm focusing on the cookies right there.
Right.
But they made them too big, Molly?
Yes, a little bit, but it always works out. Sometimes I worry needlessly.
No, I got you. Well, there's no such thing as a cookie that's too big.
Right, right.
But it always works out so that each client gets a fairly good amount of cookies or cake or whatever it is that we're making.
Well, it's good, and they're prepared and sealed. And now, how are the meals delivered, Catherine?
Well, we have about 75 volunteers that work in the kitchen, and then we have an average of 20 to 25 delivery volunteers.
Wow.
They arrive at the kitchen around 11:45 after we've packed the bags.
Gotcha.
And everybody is assigned to a route that to deliver to clients' home. And the routes, they're all over Los Angeles County, including Long Beach, the
Right.
West Valley, South LA, Silver Lake, LA City, the Basin. It's really all over the county.
So if a young person is 18 years old and has a valid driver's license and wants to do some good work within the community, this is something that they can do,
That's right. That's right. We there's our website right there.
There it is. See, projectchickensoup.org. Remember that .org business.
We always need delivery volunteers.
Yeah, always.
Especially with our client list growing. I actually have to split routes in several pieces because there's too many for one person.
I understand. Oh, here they go. Oh,
Yeah.
scurrying.
So the delivery takes place between 12 and 3. By 3 o'clock, everybody has received their meals and they're enjoying the food.
See, now that's really focused and intelligent. And so people who have, if you got time on your hands, why not? Why not? This looks great, and you can see the smiles on people's faces.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing to do.
Right. This is so interesting to see all these people at work, but Look at this, rolling out in carts.
Yes.
This is great. Wow. People need to take advantage of these volunteer opportunities. It's time for a short break right now, and when we return, we will resume our visit with Catherine Friedman and Molly Pierre from Project Chicken Soup. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Before approaching an intersection, so that's why 2 wrong turns don't make a right turn. Now let's learn about tailgating.
Hey, that's how I got my ticket.
You got a ticket for tailgating? That's not good. That can be really annoying.
Doesn't get you there any faster.
It leaves you no distance to brake.
Which makes it easier to get into a crash.
And it also may increase your insurance premium.
And I hate tailgaters.
Tailgating causes crashes. Back off. Watch the road.
Hey, buddy! Don't you know you should never leave a cooking pan unattended? And a working smoke detector can warn you of a fire. Like the one behind me. My hero!
Next time, listen to the ball. Have a smoke detector and a fire extinguisher that work. How'd you know? The ball called.
Welcome back to Aging in LA. Our topic today, Project Chicken Soup, the organization that provides nutritious meals and comfort to people suffering from AIDS. Our guests are 2 of the nonprofit's volunteers, Catherine Friedman and Molly Pierre. Molly, let me ask you a question. Since you've been involved from the beginning with this
Yes.
project, how many people come back, either to help themselves or to just visit with you?
Well, we do have a die-hard core of people who started right with me. And of course, by attrition, we no longer have some people.
Right.
But there's always people like Eve and Phyllis who are even older than I am. And believe me, I'm old enough. One of these ladies is 90, and one is, I believe, 88 or 87. And they come to the kitchen dressed to the nines, but they wear their aprons, and they're very loyal, hardworking, lovely volunteers. And then there are a few others who practically started this program with me. And sometimes I think back, and I have to try to remember the names of everyone, but they were all very, very instrumental, very important in starting this project. And it's grown from a few clients to the numbers that Catherine mentioned before. We are now a very viable, very business-like organization. When we started, we had 15 volunteers, maybe 30 to 35 clients in a small temple kitchen in Hollywood. Now we need this huge kitchen and could probably use an even larger one.
Wow. Catherine, do clients who have been helped in the past return to perhaps give a donation or to just check in on everybody or to say thank you maybe?
Current clients do that.
Wow.
We have clients who cook in the kitchen, who are delivery volunteers, and also are donors.
Wow.
Yes.
And that's heartening. I know within my little group, the only thing I ask of people that we help is that you help the next person in line. That's good to hear. That's very heartwarming.
Yeah.
Of course, it is a very tight-knit community. How do people find out about you? Is this mostly word of mouth, or are other social service agencies telling people to call you?
We have case managers that call for sure.
Perfect.
And get the information for the clients and walk them through the application process, which is, as I mentioned earlier, very easy. And some of it is word of mouth. It could be a neighbor or a friend.
Right.
And we're also, I guess, in many publications. We're in the HIV directory.
Good.
And other directories for other social services.
You know, it just slays me, and Molly, I'm sure you'll agree with me. I don't like to see people who be alone, and I sure don't like to see people hungry. And this is what a wonderful way to satisfy our better instincts in a project like this.
Well, I know that from the phone calls I make, they almost hang with bated breath to hear from me.
Yeah.
And one or two clients, if I don't call when they expect it, they'll call me.
They'll call you. That's when you know.
And so frequently when I come home from a cooking, there's a message on my answering machine, Molly, I didn't get my food yet. And I call back and say, you know, you have a time slot between noon and 3. Sometimes people are delayed by traffic.
Right.
There are often reasons, but you'll be home at no later
Then 3, it'll be there.
3 o'clock, and you'll get your food.
In the first half of our program, we watched the incredible team of people volunteering at Project Chicken Soup. We also talked to a few of them to find out why they donate their time and talents to such a wonderful cause. Let's watch.
I've been doing Project Chicken Soup for a little over a year, and I try to plan my Sunday schedules around our cooking days. I've got 3 adult daughters, and I've tried to teach them, among other things, that their life here should make a difference. And since I really believe that kids learn what they live, I like to set an example for them. And not only that, the self-satisfaction that I get coming in here and doing what I do, along with all these other amazing volunteers, is just absolutely phenomenal.
I've always enjoyed cooking, and one of the things that we had to do when my son was in high school was to find something that would provide him with some community service. And we've always felt community service was important. And when I heard about Project Chicken Soup, which has now been 8 years ago, we both volunteered. And I've been doing it now for 8 years, twice a month. And one of the things that I get out of this is giving something back to the community. I think that when you look at what the government, in a sense, does for us, LA City Schools, City of Los Angeles, County of Los Angeles, we have to be able to give something back, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's also because of the AIDS problem, and with people who have AIDS, who are unable to make food for themselves, this is a godsend.
We're from Temple Judea in Tarzana, and we've come to Project Chicken Soup as an activity that was done in Mitzvah Day through our temple. And a year and a half ago, Michael decided that this was something we really enjoy doing more than twice a year. We get volunteers. There's a crew who comes every 2 weeks. It's just about twice a month. And then we get volunteers from all over the area. Young people, older people, and everybody walks out of here feeling they've had a wonderful morning. We start a little after 8. We are totally cleaned up by noon, and we've packed over 100 meals for 100 patients.
It's 100 bags, but we make 200 complete dinners, which is a lot of work in 3 hours, but as you'll see, it all gets done.
I started here to come to Project Chicken Soup about 15 years ago, and it's every other Sunday, and I wouldn't miss it for the world, really. I mean, everybody should do something that they enjoy, and this is wonderful because everybody enjoys doing all of this. When you get through at the end of the day, you feel you've done something. You've given something, and we all have to give back.
Well, I started originally with this group with my wife and my daughter about 10 years ago. We started coming to decorate the bags that are given out with the groceries. My daughter would draw pictures on the bags and write little messages for the people that were receiving them. And then I was able to work into the kitchen and became a team captain, and before I knew it, I was on the board. And then I turned around and I was asked to be president. So I've been president for about the last 2 years. I liaise with government, I liaise with other nonprofit organizations. I'm the face to the public in general, and I recruit new board members, I recruit new volunteers, and oversee everything, which means oversee the budget, oversee the planning, that type of thing. So it's what other organizations do and other small organizations do that don't have full-time staff, like say the Jewish Family Service or any other organization in this town that's a pretty good size. We have volunteer work. We get a very special deal on the kitchen so that we don't have to pay out a lot, so that when people donate to our organization, it goes almost all straight into the food bags that are hand-delivered to the people that need them.
That's absolutely wonderful, and of course it's the proof that even small groups working closely can provide wonderful services. Molly, you must have a great sense of satisfaction when you go home at night.
Yes, yes, I look forward to it. It means I get up at 5:30 in the morning and get myself ready, and I drive myself. I live in the valley, and I drive myself over Laurel Canyon. Lately, though, there's another wonderful volunteer who lives not far from me, and she's offered to pick me up. So I'm always grateful
And that's
for
a
something
good
like
idea.
that.
Now, Catherine, we've given them the website, Project Chicken Soup. Is there a telephone number where we can call directly?
Yes, yes. It's 323-933-5402.
Great, great, great. It looks like our time is up for our program today. Thanks to our guests with the nonprofit organization Project Chicken Soup, Catherine Friedman, Assistant Director, and Volunteer Extraordinaire Molly Pierre. And now it's time for today's Senior Stat Shots. Today's program focused on nutrition, and many dietitians are now looking at changes in the patterns of senior citizens' eating habits. They suggest eating 5 small meals a day as an effective way to maintain a well-balanced diet by training your body to digest more foods more often. Here are 10 suggestions on what you should take into consideration when making food choices. Number 1, select 4 or more servings of fruits and vegetables. These are important for vitamin A, vitamin C, and fiber. Eat whole grain breads and cereals. Number 3, select low-fat milk and cheeses instead of whole milk and whole milk cheeses. Use cream, ice cream, and whole milk rarely. Include 4 to 5 ounces of lean meat, poultry, or fish daily, and eat chicken and fish more often than red meat. Include 3 or 4 eggs a week. Number 6, reduce the consumption of sugars and fats. Reduce the intake of salt and heavy salt-infused products. Abstain from alcohol or drink, please, in moderation. Reduce the intake of salt and smoke-cured meats or charbroiled meats. And number 10, stay hydrated. Drink plenty of water. And that's today's Senior Stat Shots. I'm Paul Peterson. For the Los Angeles Department of Aging, the people here at CityView Channel 35, and all of our guests on Aging in LA, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you the next time.